Thank you for joining us on another episode of Mental Health Mondays. I'm with my co-host, Chuck Basti. Of course, we'll be talking mental health, but tonight is one of those special nights. Somebody's probably sitting there right now scratching their head. Gooch, lay off the burgers and the fries, but I can't because they're Holy Chuck burgers.
We're going to go with the Holy Chuck burgers.
Hey, listen, I'm really excited about the guest you've got on tonight, Johnny Prassoulis. He's going to be amazing, because I actually said his name right.
No, you didn't actually. It's Johnny Prassoulis.
Prassoulis.
But if you actually did pronounce his name right, I would have been shocked as that.
I know. I didn't want to. I want to keep my image up. Hey, listen, obviously Mental Health Mondays means a lot to people, that we can have some fun, laugh a little bit, learn a bit about some food. And obviously Johnny's going to bring us up to speed on what he's doing to help with this mental health crisis that we have. But before we get into that, I'm wearing my Shoot for a Cure shirt today in honor of Kurt Gangenbuck. He was one of our best ambassadors. We lost him at 50 a couple of days ago in his sleep. Kurt, you will always be remembered by Barry and the whole staff at Shoot for a Cure, and of course the Canadian Spinal Organization. He was a big part of it. I don't know if you ever got to meet him, Chuck, but he was a phenomenal ambassador.
No, I never got to meet him as well. And honestly, whenever anybody passes on and has that legacy they leave behind as well, it's always a sad moment as well. So my condolences to you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's certainly for his family and everybody that knew Kurt. We send our condolences. Hey, listen, we obviously have to mention this. 49 years ago, where were you in 72?
I was like 6 months old.
I know exactly where I was. I was watching my teacher try and play with the rabbit ears because we had a lot of snow because of the satellite feed in Frontenac School in Winnipeg. I think I was in grade 6 or 5 or something like that. And I was there. I remember 34 seconds left in that game. Mr. Henderson scored the winning goal. Of course, we all know the infamous goal, probably in my mind, though you could say Lemieux's goal was pretty good in 87. You could say Crosby in 2010. But I think what the 72 goal meant, I think because of the Cold War, I just think there was a lot more to it. And of course, Alan Eagleson almost being thrown in jail in Russia.
Yeah, you know, and people talk about the Game 8's goal by Henderson. I'm up in Kincardine, the home of Paul Henderson. You know, I got the chance to interview Paul on my podcast about 8 years ago to talk about the goal of his life. It had nothing to do with that goal. But in my opinion, Game 7's goal, where he split the defense, 3 Russians draped all over him like curtains, and then beats Tretiak to get us to Game 8, and then comes through with that. I mean, Paul Henderson is just a world-class ambassador, wonderful human being, and even better ambassador. So,
hey, wonderful that you used the Iron Curtain example there. That was a good analogy. Hey, listen, we're on the Fired Up Network. We're really excited to be a part with Terry and Joe, doing a great job. We spread over almost 150 different podcasts around the world. I'm having a small little technical issue. You've probably seen you may think it's the lighting effect. One of my bulbs just burned on the light, so I apologize for that. But let's talk about, just as we bring your guest up in a few minutes, I want to wish you a fantastic show. I'm going to be watching. I haven't eaten my dinner yet, so I know that obviously what I see in the background is really exciting. I know I'm going to be listening to Johnny explain to us how mental health plays a big role in what he does, and he's given a lot of money over the years. I'm really excited about listening to you and Johnny.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. And, you know, I'll just start off with just saying good night to you as well. We'll catch you at the end of the show, right, and I'll give you a little introduction to Holy Chuck. So about
Holy Chuck.
I know it's not just a great name; it's also a great burger. You know, back in about 2015 or so, I was like helping a buddy move at Yonge and St. Clair, and nobody likes going to moving parties as well. But the good thing about that day is we moved over to Holy Chuck, crushed a burger, and my life has just never been the same. So what we thought we'd do is just kind of bring up a couple pictures as well, profiling Holy Chuck before we go there. So there's Johnny there just crushing this burger. And I tell you, when you get this burger in your mouth, when you're finished, you've got the meat sweats. I mean, this is like one of the top burgers in Toronto as well. But that's Johnny there. And that was my very first time at Holy Chuck at Yonge and St. Clair there. We don't chuck around with that menu. And that was me just going, wow, I love this place. And there's the before shot of my my burger before I put the hurt onto it, and then there should be the after shot afterwards. There's my name in lights, as we like to say. That's his Woodbridge location. Then there's the "Don't Go Check Yourself" challenge. That's on the back of this jersey that I'm wearing, the shirt that I'm wearing. And then the next picture I should think is going to be the before and after picture of. I guess we don't have that, but let me tell you, I crushed that burger, and now there we go, just crickets in the entire place, and that's down at Yonge and St. Clair. I put the hurt on that burger, and then that burger put the hurt on me. So without further ado, I want to bring up my guest, Johnny Prassoulis, who is the owner and proprietor of Holy Chuck, and there he is.
How's it going? What's going on, buddy?
Welcome to Mental Health Monday.
You know what? Thank you for having me. It's I'm very glad that you asked me to be on. Love it.
Yeah, and listen, like I don't think you get quite the amount of due that you should have as acknowledgement for what you do in the community and for what your burger does as well. I mean, there's businesses out there that seem to want to bring in their tribe of people, provide a product or service as well. But I mean, you just do so much more on top of what you do as burgers as well. That I was like, let's bring you on the show and talk about what you do outside of the community as well. Because that says more about you as a person, and which adds to your brand as well, to Holy Chuck, which I said is not only just a great name, it's also a hell of a burger. But I thought we'd start off a little bit with you telling us your little journey. So take a couple minutes just to tell us about, you being a chef, how you came into opening up Holy Chuck and why you did it.
Yes. So again, thanks again for having me on. And you know what? It's I've always been a firm believer. It's not about you, it's about others. And that's what makes life. So my journey in Holy Chuck, I'm a chef by trade. And one day I went around the city and I started trying out burgers. And not that they were bad, but I just figured, you know what? I think I can do this better than anybody and put a twist on it. So that's what I did. I went home, got a little frying pan out, went to my local butcher about 3-4 times a day, and bought an extension for my little KitchenAid mixer and started grinding meat away. And yeah, till I found the proper blend or mix, if you want to call it. And I called up my cousin Johnny, Chimas as we call him, and I said, buddy, I got it. I got the mix, I got the burger. And he's like, yeah, by now can you do about 500 a day instead of doing one, because it makes it a little bit more difficult. And that's how it came about. We do everything fresh in house. We pretty much grind aged steak and make a burger out of it. And we do milkshakes, we do desserts, we do pretty much everything. So yeah, we're over 10 years in now. My St. Clair store just celebrated its 10th year anniversary on September 7th. And I have another store up in Woodbridge. Unfortunately, not due to business. Our business is thriving. It's great. They are building condos at Yonge and Wellesley, so we had to close that location. But we are pressing on, and we're looking to move on and open more stores and get this beautiful burger in everybody's mouth and pass the message along. It's yeah. So I think as a company we're always ever changing, and this mental health thing is one thing that is definitely changing. I mean, I don't want Holy Chuck just to be known for burgers. Like you used the word always with me. We need to humanize the brand and humanize the people behind Holy Chuck, and me being myself and my staff, and what we do in the community, and helping people out and making people more aware of things that they should be more aware of.
Yeah, and that being said, John, I want to ask you. So, like, obviously, mental health is important to us here on the show. I think we started doing this before the pandemic had brought out what was going on with people and their experiences with mental health, and this has just kind of exacerbated our situation as well. So, obviously, we have that alignment. But why is mental health awareness important to you?
So, I believe that. I mean, as we evolve, I believe there's been mental health in everybody's family. I know it's been in my family for many years, but I think the less ignorant that we become, and the more literature there is out there, and stories and people that are strong and they come forward. I think now it's at a high, not only because of the pandemic, which did bad in itself, but I think like a lot of matters in life, it's coming to the forefront now. So it's not like it wasn't there before. It's just more evident now because people are becoming more aware of it because they're coming forward. And like I said, I've had it in my family for many years. And I think everybody in this world, whether you want to believe it or not, has struggled with some sort of mental illness. I know I have, and I know the pandemic didn't help. I know that it's polarized a lot of people, a lot of families, and it's taken a serious toll on a lot of people. So I mean, I am driven by that, by my personal family experiences and my own myself. I've been pretty down in the dumps many times, and I've dealt with drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that. I mean, thank God not anymore, and I've taken a different route. But a lot of people don't have the power to do that. So, but my biggest eye opener, if you want to call it, which unfortunately I'm here to tell the story, is about one of my close friends. He was probably my best friend, George. And so about a year and a half ago, sorry, I know I'm, so about a year and a half ago, my good friend George ended up taking his own life. And it came suddenly. And it was something that we were trying to help him with. We were taking him to hospitals. We've taken him to counselors. We took him everywhere. We were pretty much beside him every waking hour, for about 2 months, when it really came evident about what I thought he was capable of doing. I let the family know, and we stood beside him. We like, I mean, he couldn't have had more support than what he had with us. So sometimes you just can't. I mean, you can only do your best, right? And it's hard not to hit yourself over the head at the end of the day and say, "Shit, I could have done more," because you always think you could do more,
Yeah.
right? But the reality is sometimes you just can't. You can do your best, and that's what happened with George. He was he was alone for a couple of minutes, and ended up taking his own life. Yeah, he ended up jumping, and one of his cousins found him, and yeah, it was tragic because he was the type of person that you'd never think he was happy. He was I mean, it's like just one of those guys where you'd say there's 8 billion people on the earth. That guy's the last guy to do it.
Mhm.
But as much as you try and protect somebody, sometimes you just can't do it. So I mean, even those people out there that have done their best, and sometimes, guys, you can't be yourself. It's not your fault, and you just do your best. So
Yeah.
that's it. So,
I
anyways,
lost I
yeah,
lost 3 friends in one year to suicide. And just like you
yeah,
said, like, and I don't say this to one up you. I say this to collaborate because people who are listening, who have gone through this process, it's not something that we talk about at parties. And I think it's very important to verbalize what your experience was with that. And I, just like you, sat on a park bench with one of my best friends and said, you aren't going to do anything stupid, are you? Like, you've got kids, you've got so much to live for. No, 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 no. Just like you said, the last person on earth, you think. And he admitted he had problems with alcohol and depression and all that as well. But like you said, some people just have used all of the energy in their tank to get where they actually have gotten to, and they literally have nothing left in that tank to propel them forward. And they take the choice of ending that trauma or ending that pain for themselves. And I think, although they're free of that now, the impact lands on us. And now we're left to deal with the trauma of that experience and processing those feelings, those emotions. And just like you, when you lose your friend, you don't want that person to die in vain. You want to be able to edify that person. And you've done something wonderful with Georgie's memory as well. So I just thought maybe you'd just take a couple minutes and just tell the people what you actually created for George in his memory.
Yes. So what I've done for Georgie is so George's favorite burger at Holy Chuck was our Big Chuck, which is pretty much the replica of a Big Mac. And he loved our Chuck sauce. He also loved fried chicken. And George worked out. He's a healthy guy, and he could eat. He could eat. So I tried brainstorming one day and said, you know what can I put together, and what can I put together to make George happy? Like, well, what's a burger? So I ended up coming up with a beautiful burger. It's a big burger. It's called the Uncle Georgie Porgy. So the burger is and George liked girls, so that's why Uncle Georgie Porgy putting the pie kissed the girls and made them cry. So I figured I would I would kind of add that in there, the Georgie Porgy. So it's a homemade fried chicken burger. It's gluten free. It's all made with thigh meat, and we have one lamb patty, one bacon patty. It's got triple cheese, bacon, and it's smothered in our Big Chuck sauce. And it's all served on our beautiful. Yeah, oh yeah, that's it. That's
That's your bad boy.
Some nice lettuce. Yeah, it's an amazing burger, and I am.
That's a heart attack on a plate, Johnny. That is a heart attack on a plate.
Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, right? Eat one of those and just don't eat for the rest of the day, and you'll be good. You'll be right at your calorie count in one shot. So it's perfect. Yeah. But you know what? The reality is, I'm blessed, and I'm grateful that I can do this for him. Many people might not be able to, but I do have an avenue to express this, and I do it. There's 3 people that I have on my menu that are the greatest 3 people that I love in this world, and those are my kids. And now I just put a 4th on there, George. So yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, like I'm gonna take that over for you as well, because I can see when you're processing emotion. And here's the one thing about memories: it's just that, like,
I said I wasn't gonna cry. I said
we're right there.
Try to keep together, but
when
anyways,
when you have that experience, the human experience that connects us all is the memories that we can generate of everything you did with George as well, and just how you talk about him, and how you edify him with that burger as well. But the greater good of this is that anybody who comes into Holy Chuck and orders the Uncle Georgie Porgy burger, you donate proceeds of that to whatever you're launching next week, to CMHA. So talk a little bit about how you came about with that and what you've done in the last year or so.
So, I mean, first I'd like to give a sincere thanks to Chuck, because Chuck is the one. I kind of had this in my mind. I did put the burger together. I did all of this stuff, and then on my own, I pretty much said about 6 months ago that between a 3-month period until Georgie's birthday, that I would donate a certain amount of money, proceeds of the burger, to mental health. And then Chuck called me and said, you know what, I'm doing this thing. I got this thing going on with Mental Health Mondays, and I've got people coming on from hockey people. Ron McLean, that was there about a month ago, give or take. Ron, thanks for the shout out there. You're a gentleman. Anyways, and so I got to thank you for this, because you kind of given me this vehicle now to jump on board with you and do this together with you, because now I've got a greater reach of people, and it's always great when you got somebody else helping you out with it. And you've got some great connections for this thing to go even further than I mean, at least at this point, could have done with it. So, and I think sky's the limit. I think we can target a lot of people on this, and especially the age group that comes into Holy Chuck. You're talking about pretty much pre-teen, entering teens to mid-40s, and if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much your major, your biggest audience, and the largest group of people that are dealing with mental health, and then they grow on. I mean, I think you get it earlier on in age, and then you just carry it through, right? So I think we can touch a lot of people with this, and I thank you for that. So yeah, so your question, because I know I got a little bit off topic, was was going forward with this and the burger. So I partnered up with CMHA. I talked to a lovely lady, Jade, on the phone, and like we signed a contract and everything. So this isn't like this is real shit. So I can swear on this show, right? I can sometimes swear.
Just no F-bombs.
Huh? No F-bombs. Okay.
No F-bombs.
So, okay, and I see you looking at your producer or whoever you're looking at there. So now I'm giving $1 of every Georgie Porgy burger to CMHA, and we'll see how that goes. And like I'm gonna do with the other program that I had for the 3 months, I did raise a couple $1,000, and I thought that I would raise more. Not that a couple $1,000 is still good money, but I'm gonna actually put some money from my own pocket in, and we're gonna do the first donation to the CMHA, and then moving forward, we'll take it here, and hopefully we get a lot more people on board, a lot more people listening, and So
yeah, and I think one of the great things about this is the CMHA, who I've been dealing with for about a year and a half now. Alex, who runs the Talk Today program, which
that's the program that we're gonna.
Prevention. So what we want to be able to do is just like with Georgie's legacy, is really just create more dialogue and more safety and conversation in people's vulnerabilities and what they're dealing with in the moment. Eliminate the shame, the guilt, the humiliation.
Of ego, man, ego.
Yeah, ego experiences going through, and then you take ego, then you add trauma to ego, and now you've got a whole new monster to deal with. Ego alone is bad. Ego is never your amigo. But then when you add trauma to that, and we're going to get a little bit more into the trauma on the back end of the show as well. But once you add that trauma factor, then you add the mental health aspect, and that's where the wheels fall off. And so we want to thank. We're going to have Alex from CHA, the Talk Today program, on next week, and have you on the tail end as well to make that announcement as well. But I thought right now what we do is kind of segue into your contribution, because before I even contacted you, a couple of years ago, you were doing a lot of this, work in the community as well, philanthropy, charity work. I mean, you've given away sizable money and raised sizable money for Sick Kids Foundation, for other charities as well. You've given away 1,000 burgers over at Sunnybrook as well. And I mean, you've been everywhere as well. And I always say this, like, truly and genuinely. I believe that people, when they make a difference, and I've busted your balls about this for a year now, but when you do good in the community, there should be somebody there to acknowledge you for doing that, because it's the right thing to do. But not only that, but then it creates the ripple effect of what other people can say, oh, wow, what a great idea. Like, 15 years ago, I created a scholarship award for a vice principal that made a huge difference in my life. And it really rescued this man, from the depths of despair at the time, and the whole community rallied around him. And when he got that acknowledgement from the newspaper, walking down the street, his ego lifted up, his pride blossomed, the phone calls came in. People stopped him on the street and said, a story of why he changed their life. And he never knew any of this. It was like the Jimmy Stewart moment from It's So Wonderful Your Life. He had no idea the impact that you make on people until it gets compounded. And then from that point there, that man went and created an artificial ice plant for the small town in Manitoba that they live in. And then the ripple effect of that has gone 5 times, 6 times, 10 times. And so when you do something like this in the community, Johnny, it's important not only that you get acknowledged for it, but that other people see the possibility of what they can do for their business, for their brands. So as well, I want to pull up some pictures here, Jordan, if we can just throw up some pictures that we have as well. So walk us through this as well, Johnny.
So this here, this was another tragic thing that happened to one of my dear friends. It was February of 2009. One of my close friends, George Prassoulis, he actually got murdered. And we now started a golf tournament that we do every year. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone on for the last 2 years. So George wasn't sick kids as a young kid, so we felt that this was the best charity to give it to. There were a couple of other charities as well, but every year there's a golf tournament in his name, and I cater it. I cater the golf tournament with free burgers to everybody, and and we get about 140 guys pretty much every year, and we donate all the proceeds to Sick Kids Hospital. That picture that you saw there, I believe, was in 2014. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was, I think at that point in 2014, we had raised $145,000 for sick kids. And I think to date, if I'm not mistaken, we're close to $500,000 now that we've raised for Sick Kids Hospital in Georgia's name. And I feel like I'm always talking about bad stuff. And then I had my partner at my Yonge and St. Clair location, Bill Katrubis, who was George's brother, passed away a couple of years ago. So talk about a tragedy for a family, two parents losing their kids. And Bill was 50 years old when he passed away. So so now we kind of do the golf tournament in memory of both of them. So yeah, we've given a lot of money. We've given a lot of money. It's not me. It's everybody, right? It's everybody. I'm nobody without everybody else. Correct, right? So,
but that furthers my point as well. I mean, like obviously, it takes a village to raise a child. But the point is, when we're able to joint venture with people, sometimes it just starts with an idea, and if you can create that idea, and somebody else can take that idea and say, maybe if we tweak it a little bit and include this person over here, I know somebody who does this over here. Now you actually have a joint venture of a small community of like 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, and then your reach grows, and then people get. I call it the Oprah effect, because Oprah comes up with the idea, and then she has masterful people that she's created working for her, and she just says, "Okay, run with the idea," and then off they go. And Oprah's ideas now get facilitated because the people who buy into Oprah's brand or system, now facilitate what they want to get done. And then you get the impact coming back to you. Thank you for doing this. This made a huge difference in my life. My kids now have a chance because of this. And then you start gaining that momentum of that difference in contribution that you're making out there in the world. And then it becomes addictive, almost to that point there of getting out there and helping people and creating that community of difference and how that impacts other people. And the bonus of it is your brand as a business booms. But you're not doing it because of the boom of the brand. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And it's also good for business on the back end, because people say, hey, listen, I've got an ability to spend my tax dwindle dollar in buying a burger. If I go to McDonald's, if I go to Burger King, or if I go to Holy Chuck, where does that money go? And if I say to myself, I have buying power over my tax dwindle dollar, I'm going to take my dollar and support Johnny over Holy Chuck, because I believe he's doing a great thing with what he has at his platform, and he deserves my business. Now you've changed the cognitive side of decision-making of the consumer. And that's where people's choice really should go. And that's where branding goes to, what difference that you're making. And you say, I'm going to reward Johnny for doing the right thing because his heart's in the right spot. And that's why we're going to support Johnny over at Holy Chuck Burger. What do you think about that?
I think you're right on. I think you're right on the money. And I mean, we appreciate people like you, because you're the one kind of bringing this to the forefront. And there's like if you look at my social media and my posting and stuff like that, I don't post a lot of this stuff, right? And I think it's you the one that told me the phrase, you don't want to be the guy pumping your own tires, right? You should have somebody else doing it for you. So I kind of feel that there's a fine line between that. I want to show what Holy Chuck does, but at the end of the day, I don't want to feel like I'm just kind of, showing off or doing stuff for the wrong reasons, because I'm not. So that's why I don't post a lot of stuff. I just do it myself. And I mean, if you catch wind of it somehow, you catch wind of it somehow, and that's great. But I'm not doing it for the wrong reasons. So, and that's why I'm thankful for people like you that are kind of exposing myself and Holy Chuck, and not just myself, but other people that are doing good for the community, not just for mental health, but for everything.
Yeah, and I
So
think
yeah,
mental health is just one
and I think there
aspect.
needs to. So I think at the end of the day, I mean, what I would like to see more than even people acknowledging what I do, what Holy Chuck does, is do it yourself. Do
Mm.
like what you said. See it, get inspired by it, and do it yourself. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be. I started off at 1,000 burgers when COVID started. I think I went close to 1,500 burgers because I think when I first started, I started just going to hospitals, and and then I realized I'm like, hold on a second, and not to take anything away from doctors and nurses, not whatsoever, but there's other people that are putting their health at risk. Everybody from mechanics to grocery stores to you name it, anywhere that you need a service and people are there to help you during those times. I think certain people were getting left out. So I was like, you know what? We've given away now almost 1,000 burgers to the hospitals. Let's start hitting some other people. And I wanted to get my kids involved. So I actually grabbed my kids one day, all three of them, and we went around and we started giving out burgers. And my daughter, who's a little bit older, my boys at that point were probably 5 and 7. My daughter was 10. And then one day my daughter turns to me, she goes, "Baba, I want to do that again with you. Do you have more burgers to give?" And I'm like, "Baby, I don't. The burgers are not limitless, but for you." And I wanted to try and teach them as well. Like giving is good. Giving is like you got to take care of other people. So I got my daughter in the car. I loaded up my trunk with I don't know 250 burgers, and we drove around Woodbridge. We dropped into Fortino's. We gave 85. Sorry, 85. Yeah, 85 burgers there. We went to the LCBO. Got to take care of the people at the LCBO. And then we went everywhere. We went everywhere and just surprised people. It was almost like a prank show. People are looking at us, and in Woodbridge, they know us. They're like, "Is this a joke? Is there really burgers in there?" I'm like, "No, it's not a joke." I'm like, "Just enjoy them. Whatever. Think about us." And yeah, and we had some fun with it. We had some laughs. We had some, yeah. It was very very nice, and people took to it, and it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, and what I would like to do with more of this is be able to work with businesses you like yourself or people who are listening to this, or if you listen to this after the show's over on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you find this, is find something that you can do with your business that you have passion for, that you can actually drive awareness and traffic with your platform. Because, I remember James Reimer from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was interviewing him one time in the dressing room, and just a wonderful human being. In April, his wife got cyberbullied online. I think it was 2014, 2015. And it really had a big impact on him. And they took that event in April, created a charity called Tweet Sweet. And she went to 3 schools a day telling the kids, if you're going to tweet sweet, because this is what happened to my husband. And, he's a big boy. He got thick Irish skin, and he makes $3.5 million a year, has all the resources in the world to deal with all that. But you as kids don't have the ability to do all that. And it lands for you as hurtful, as hateful, as traumatic, as humiliating. And I said to James, I'm like, God bless you for doing something like that and taking something that's really personal to you and making a difference with that. And as a hockey player, and he says to me, Chuck, 0.1% of what I am as a human being plays hockey. I'm a human being who plays hockey first, but in Toronto, they look at us as like we're a hockey player who happens to be human. And I think one of the greatest things for James is that they got traded to San Jose and get to live his life outside that spotlight. But it's really about connecting those dots, finding where your passion is, where your business is, where there's a problem area, and then being able to, connect the dots to that and using your product or your service or your brand in order to help people who don't have voices for themselves. I think that's so important in branding and when it comes to business, because again, just like Apple, businesses are just numbered companies. They don't have belief systems. They don't have morals. They don't have guidelines. Those are created by the CEOs and the visionaries of people like yourself who actually say, you know what, we're not a burger company. We're a messaging board, and we use burgers as our vehicle to be able to get our message to humanity out and put smiles on people's faces and make a difference in the community. And the burger is the vehicle of how we do this you find your pathway, you use your tool, you use your vehicle to make a difference as well. And I think what you're doing right now is amazing.
Thank you. And this is just the beginning, Chuck. Like I said, I mean, now we've partnered up together, and we're gonna start hitting. We're gonna start hitting some communities. We're gonna go into, I believe, at the GTHL. We're gonna start getting out there and putting the message across that, you know what, mental health is a real problem. Did I lose you there? Hello?
I'm still here.
Oh, I got you. Oh, okay. I couldn't hear anything a second. That it is a real problem, because I think a lot of people don't take it as seriously as it is. But I think as the generations grow, I had a friend of mine who suffers from bipolar, and his parents would always tell him, "Come on, get up, get up." You know what I mean? He's my age. Get up. You got what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Get off the couch. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Be a man. Like, you know, I get up. And it's very ignorant. But you can't blame them, because a lot of people come from the old country and they're not educated. But I think now putting this message across to everybody and to young kids, because the young kids are the next generation, and they got to learn that this is real. But even more importantly, they got to learn to speak out, talk. Everybody's here to listen to you. People are here to help you, and nothing is that bad. Like nothing is that bad. To do what my buddy George did, or to sit in your room and just waste your life away. Nothing. You gotta be positive. And it's difficult. I know it's hard to say, because I mean, I've been down in the dump sometimes, but I don't have bipolar, and I couldn't even imagine what it is to have that. So I'm not downplaying it and saying, you know what, oh, it's easy, put a smile on your face and get out there. But I think we need more people out there to help.
Yeah.
Talk about it. And at the end of the day, when it comes to suicide, there's a solution for everything. There's always a solution. And that's what people have to remember. Like, you got one life, man. Life is so precious. And I've always been scared of death. Since I was a young kid, I'd go into my kids, my dad and my mom's bed, and I'd be scared shitless of it. And to a certain point, I still am, right? And I think it kind of keeps me in check a little bit. But I'm happy now, and I've kind of changed my ways for certain things. I've taken up meditation. I meditate every single day now. I've been meditating every single day now for 2.5 months. I haven't missed one day, and it does wonders to me. I've changed my way of thinking, my intention, and how to be with certain people. And I mean, we're only human beings. We're gonna crack here and there, but at the end of the day, you've got one life, and it's precious. And nobody knows what happens in the afterlife. Yeah. You know what I mean? Nobody happens. I mean, you can be as spiritual as you can. You can tell me you believe in God as much as you can. I'm not gonna tell you there isn't. But what you know is here, now, today. That's it, man. That's it. And enjoy it, love it, embrace it, and that's it, man. Just move forward. And if you need help, don't be afraid to ask for it. And like I said, ego for me is the biggest thing in the world. Like, no one's gonna look at you bad if you say, you know what, I don't know, I'm not feeling good because of this, or I'm sad, or like. Anyways, that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying with that, because obviously there's a whole lot of judgment, and judgment is the root cause analysis of the humiliation that people experience and what they feel. And I have a saying, Johnny. It says, "Hurt people hurt people." And you know, when you're out there in that world, and there's a whole bunch of hurt people out there, they're devoid of power, they're devoid of energy, they're devoid of love and support. Miserable people like company. And that's why they say misery loves company. More importantly, misery loves your company. So when it comes down to that, you know, the company that you keep, your community of people, you know, contribution. You say life is precious. I say, in this one kick at the can that we have, is like that we know of, is like, we all want to make a difference. We all want to have that contribution, because the contribution, what we give, gives us the flow back. I remember Wayne Simmons, who's now with the Toronto Maple Leafs, when he was with the Philadelphia Flyers. He was on Mr. Snyder's board when Mr. Snyder was still alive and on the Flyers. And I asked him why he did all the work he did with Mr. Snyder's board, because it took him hours and hours a week of what he did. And he's like, I get more back from that project, from working with those kids, than I would ever get playing hockey. You know, the buzz that you get when you walk into a stadium and 18,000 people call out your name is nothing compared to the contribution you have. And if I didn't do that, my mom would kick my ass, because, you know, I was one of those kids who was the person looking for the autograph, the underprivileged kid in Scarborough as well. And so the ripple effect of what you have as that one ability to help other people and contribute changes lives. And I really, truly believe that as well. One of the things I'm looking forward to moving forward with Mental Health Monday and Chuck's World of Infinite Mojo when we start off with the NHL season is being able to have every single one of my guests say "Holy Chuck," and that's not even just a great hashtag, but you know, like you mentioned, I had Ron McLean on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and we were able to get him to throw out a shout out to you as well. And I'm just going to have Jordan, our producer, pull that up as well. Here's that clip as well.
Oh yeah.
Here you go. Roll that. And if we get the audio, we'll wait to cue that up again as well. Let's just see if we can get that audio up.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting Ron several years back at Kevin Weeks' house, and that's how I actually met. I forgot to send the link to Kevin. Anyways, that's how I met with Kevin. He came into Holy Chuck. He ate a burger. He was blown away. And then he came up and he's like, "Who's the owner here?" And I'm like, "Hold on a second. Isn't that Kevin Weeks?" And anyways, and then we started talking. We did some stuff, and we become close friends ever since. So we're always in contact. We're always in touch with each other. And he's a solid guy. They don't make him better than Kevin.
Yeah, we have that clip right now. We're going to roll as well, just to show our viewers. This is when we had Ron McLean on a couple weeks ago. Our friends at Holy Chuck Burger. It's not just a great name, Ron. It's actually a sick burger. And Johnny from Holy Chuck, I know that you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
There you go. Just seeing my names in the neon light, you know, hits me right there. It just hits me right there. But that burger gives me a meat sweats coma, where you wake up and you're like, where the hell am I? Like, this is just such a great burger. But Johnny from Holy Chuck Burger, as generous as he is, he works a lot with us on the mental health side. There's Johnny there with, you know, the meat sweats on that burger. But he's a big advocate of mental health awareness and Mental Health Monday as well. And he's going to provide you with some gift cards as well. And then generously enough, going to give you a call out, so that way he will cater one of your charity events of your choice. So that way everybody else in the Ron McLean field can experience what the meat sweats are from Holy Chuck. But you have to say Holy Chuck.
Johnny, you know, we met each other at Kevin Weeks at a great summer soiree a couple of years ago. You're the best. Your burgers are by far the best. And Holy Chuck, thank you.
Yeah, Ron saw that. I had a good night. We had some good discussions downstairs. That party went to like, I don't know, till about 4 or 5 in the morning. I think it was. I think at the end of the day, it was just I think it was just the heavy hitters that were left. Me, Kevin, my cousin Johnny, and my cousin Anthony. It was just the 4 of us downstairs, and yeah, I think even Kevin's wife gave up on us and went upstairs and went to bed. So, anyways, yeah. So it was. It was a great night. Good people, and Ron was one of them. Yeah. So I look forward to that. Ron, if you're watching or if you're gonna watch, those gift cards are coming, and we're waiting for an event together, buddy. And it's on me. It's on me.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where I say collaboration just makes everything work, because Ron McLean does so much work in the community and charity worlds that people just never see. Just like
it kills me because I follow Ron McLean on social media, and the guy's got like 3,500 followers, and it blows my mind.
Yeah,
I know, because he doesn't use it. Right? I mean, listen, he's on live, he's on the NHL and so on. I mean, the whole world knows him, but you got other people that are really not doing anything, and they've got millions of followers, and he's got no followers. But so yeah, I mean, social media nowadays, as much as we were trying to cue into the show, I told you guys, and I say to everybody, I hate technology. I hate it. But another thing that I've always said in my life is, for every bad there's a good, and for every good there's a bad. So with technology used properly, you can get to a lot of people. You can do a lot of good with it. But of course, I mean, there's another side to that again, which is a whole other discussion and debate. But
Listen, before we go, I want to give you a chance to have your final word with where people can find you, how they can cater their events, how they can contact you, where they can go for that Meat Splits burger that I love so much as well, and just tell people where they can find you.
So right now we have currently 2 locations, one at Yonge and St. Clair, 1450 Yonge Street. That's the OG location, the original location. And then there's another location at 4421 Highway 7. It's Pine Valley and Highway 7 area. We actually have a drive-through there. So we do catering. We come to your house with our grills. We can deliver to you. We can do whatever you like. We're big on gluten-free. We've got a celiac menu. All our meat is halal, and we make juicy burgers, as good as they get, as clean as they get. Not even your grandmother or your mother can make a more true burger than Holy Chuck can, and that's just the reality of it. Unless she's slaughtering, like in the old days, cows in the backyard and grinding them with Grandpa, that's what you're pretty much getting at Holy Chuck. So. If you go online, holychuck.com, you can find everything there, and send us an email, and we can do everything. We do weddings, bar mitzvahs, anything, birthdays, you name it. So, yeah.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to have you on next week as well when we bring Alex from CMHA.
Looking forward to it.
Well, to make the announcement.
This is addictive. You're going to have me on every week.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, again, you have the distinction of having my name inside your title, which just makes it, a no-brainer for me as well. So, like,
that was the first phone call we had.
What's that?
That was the first phone call. I'm like, who's this guy that sent me an email? His name is Chuck. I'm like, what's this guy gonna tell me? And Chuck's like, you know what? Your thing pairs perfectly with my name. We got to do something, and So, but
and it honestly
happens for a reason and at the right time. And even though we did connect then a couple of years ago, I knew you as being a good soul and somebody that we're definitely gonna do some business with, and do something with. And now the time has come, and I think it's great that we connected like this, and we're gonna move forward and change some people's lives.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm looking forward to this. We're gonna have a lot of fun this year, you and me, Johnny. Like I can't wait to do the NHL podcast. I can't wait to really talk about the 4 themes that we have: inclusivity, diversity, mental health awareness, mindset, and giving back to community. Because I think these are all things that every single great business has to master. And all 4 of those. And as well, I want to thank you for being on the show as well. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And everybody out there, like I said, please talk. You have no idea the power of your voice. And there's people out there, man. Please, okay? Nothing is that bad, okay? Chuck, thank you. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
See you at the restaurant. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Before then. Thanks, Johnny. That's Johnny Prassoulis, the owner and proprietor of Holy Chuck. If you want to go to his website, it's www.holychuck.com. I want to take this a moment just to thank Johnny for being on the show as well. Like I said, this has been a long time running as well. He does have a great name. So we're going to play on that, start building that community as well. If you want to support us, be able to make a difference in the community, please let us know what that is for you, how that would work. We're really open to collaborations and finding out how we can help people in communities, whether it be mental health and awareness, whether it comes down to just talking, like Johnny said, being able to have dialogue. There is an open segue to reach us as well, so we want to do that. The last thing I want to talk about tonight is I've been in talks with Dr. Gabor Mate. He's one of the world's most premier speakers on trauma, mental health, and addiction. And Maurizio and Zaya are producers of the movie The Wisdom of Trauma. And if you've had the ability to see the movie back when it premiered this summer, it is a wonderful movie. And I highly recommend going to that website. Jordan, if we can pull up that website, the Wisdom of Trauma as well. What I would like to do is I'm going to play you a small little video. There is a free version of the movie starting on October the 4th, so a week today, to the 10th. And we're going to be profiling the wisdom of trauma. So that way people can really understand what mental health is. Trauma isn't what happens to you. Trauma is what happens inside of you when something goes sideways that you don't have the capacity to deal with. And Gabor Mate and Russell Brand have been instrumental in being able to convey to people exactly what capacity is, what people have the ability to deal with trauma. And I just thought we'd just start with the introduction to the film. We will be profiling CMHA on next week. And then after that, we will be profiling the wisdom of trauma on subsequent shows. I'm a big fan of Dr. Mate's work. We will be working to getting him on the podcast and profiling him and his message as well. But if we can roll that video, Jordan, this is something near and dear to me.
In the US, the richest society in history, fully half of the citizens have a chronic disorder such as high blood pressure or diabetes. Anxiety amongst young people is growing rapidly. Asthma and autoimmune diseases are on the rise, as are addictions.
Depression is rising. Youth suicide is rising.
All is not well.
I started heroin at 26. That's what really destroyed me. Just takes the pain away.
It's easy to want to escape reality completely instead of coping with it.
And so the question is, can we be human beings in the midst of civilization? Because what we call civilization demands the denial of human needs.
Please welcome Dr. Gabor Mate.
Every human being is a true, genuine, authentic self. And the trauma is that disconnection from it, and the healing is the reconnection with it.
Why do we get disconnected? Because it's too painful to be ourselves.
So you sort of a bit like in the Matrix when Neo sees everything's made out of numbers. You look at people and you see all their trauma and damage.
That's
and
what I see. So trauma is not the bad things that happen to you, but what happens inside you as a result of what happens to you. What do you want to tell me? What comes up right now?
Shame.
Thank you.
My father. He would spank us and take a belt to us.
Who did you speak to about your pain?
Nobody.
Yeah, that's the trauma. In other words, by the time you're 5 years old, you're completely alone. People are much more lonely and isolated than they used to be. Literally, it causes inflammation in the body and suppresses the immune system. You've been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Correct.
In my view, people that develop cancer have a hard time expressing healthy anger.
Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, there were two traumatized people
the American
fighting to govern a traumatized world.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And these are the people that our society rewards with power. Our schools are full of kids with learning difficulties, mental health issues that are trauma-based. But the average teacher never gets a single lecture on trauma.
We need trauma-informed medical care, trauma-informed education.
If we had a trauma-informed society, we'd have a society that looks much more compassionate.
You did. You made a difference in my life.
Thank you for being in touch.
I don't feel like I'm a bad person anymore. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I just want people to see the truth. Solutions arise out of people when they confront themselves with the truth, when they're not afraid of the truth.
I think the biggest thing that this whole healing journey has taught me is how to be human.
Yeah, I mean, I watch that and just feel how this affects every single one of us. You know, whether you have the capacity to deal with that trauma or not, will explain how you process what you're dealing with. And just like we were talking about in suicide awareness, some people have used everything that they actually have used to get to that one point, and they have nothing left in that tank, simply because of the capacity they have to process that trauma. So what I'd like you to all to do is click on that website, wisdomoftrauma.com. You can be a free subscriber. You can go to a paid subscription. But if you know somebody out there who needs to hear this message, please share it. This is free. This is something that is just the right thing to do. Getting this message out of Dr. Matte's work is something that I think really has the ability to change the world. I don't think there's a person that I've heard on the subject that has the accreditation or the research that has been able to make a difference in a layman's term for people dealing with their processing of trauma, with their mental health, with their addictions. And the addictions are just a result of mental health, and mental health is a result of trauma. And if you can get that message to people, this is the hope. I would like to think that we can provide people who are short of capacity that can actually dial in to another level of hope and understanding their trauma, understanding this is what they've gone through, this is what their body is processing, this is why their soul is exhausted, this is the reason why they're making the choices that they're making it, and then creating that segue from not making it as a choice, but actually having the body creating that knee-jerk reaction, which chooses addiction, which chooses mental health, coping mechanisms. And these things are very, very short-lived, and they don't work long-term. And I think if we can get that message out there, I'm more than ecstatic about working with people like Johnny Prassoulis now from Holy Chuck, moving forward with Mental Health Monday as a sponsor and as an advocate of mental health awareness. If you are a business and you are looking to make a difference, please reach out to us and let us know so that way we can properly edify and promote you. We want to create a community of people of like-mindedness, of helping people help people. So again, we will see you next week on Mental Health Monday. My name is Chuck Basti. I'm your host of Mental Health Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every single Monday. Next week, we will have the CMHA on, Canadian Mental Health Association, talking about their program Talk Today, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. So until then, have a wonderful week. We'll see you in October.